Hello and welcome to session 6 on countering social media bias. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at some of the things that people don't really like about social media, or what might prevent them from using social media, and see some ways that we could actually counter these biases, or ways we can make sure that these biases do not affect social media use in the future. Let's get started. So the first thing is that not everyone has access to internet or mobile devices that can let them access social media, and that's okay for the time being, because the people that you want to be looking for are the people that are already using social media. For disaster risk communication, it's good practice to understand how information is spread throughout communities. If a community is not using social media already, then they should be informed on principles related to disaster risk management using other means of communications rather than social media. So that just goes back to the theme that we've been saying throughout some of these sessions that says know your audience. If you're trying to target a rural community that may not have access to internet or have a social media account, then social media would not be the best way to reach them. It's always good that infrastructure opportunities are being brought to these people. Maybe they'll get internet in the future, but that's something that happens on a case-by-case basis and cannot be relied on. For now, disaster risk communication is about enhancing the tools that they already use to gain their information. So just because not everyone has access to social media, that doesn't mean that we should rule it out as being an effective use of risk communication. Let's move on. False information and rumor spreading. In today's world, everyone can be a journalist. If you have a cell phone, a smartphone, or even a picture phone, you could take a photo, send it to someone, upload it to the internet, and you can put whatever caption you want on it. Not everyone is a disaster risk management expert. Not everyone is a weather expert. Just because you upload a picture of a few dark clouds doesn't necessarily mean that a storm is coming. So how do we get rid of the bias? How do we get rid of the fear that sometimes this misinformation causes? Especially because this misinformation can be spread so widely and so quickly throughout social media. Well, a couple of ways that we can do that is to create an educated user base. Let people know how important it is that social media is used responsibly. Not only for disaster risk communication, but also towards things like bullying or even stalking on social media, which can happen. So responsible use of social media is encouraged, and programs should be implemented to teach people about social media. And every once in a while on your own social media account, you could guide someone to a information resource that shows them why it's important to have responsible use of social media. Another way to get rid of this rumor spreading is by creating official accounts. If you're a trusted organization or another type of information resource, or you think of yourself as an information resource, make sure you only provide the most quality information and most truthful information. And be truthful when you're not sure when a source, and ask your audience to give you verification. Maybe you don't know if a weather report coming out of a certain area is truthful. See if anyone else is around so you can cross-check the information that's coming in and then spread it on social media. Maybe you could even create your own myth-busting hashtag, as the Queensland Police Department has done, as you can see from our next example, and from some of our previous sessions as well. So again, just to boil this all down, creating an educated user base and having official Twitter accounts or Facebook accounts or any type of social media that cross-checks its facts and tries its hardest to journalism standards to only share truthful information. Now, we talked about this in one of our past sessions, but the Queensland Police Myth-Busting campaign is when they created a hashtag during the Queensland floods, which is the hashtag hashtag Mythbuster. And that's when rumors were coming in. They identified these rumors and then sent out the truthful information with the hashtag mythbusting. Let's move on. Information overload. Now, social media is a vast network of users constantly sharing, constantly uploading, constantly creating content. So in all this information, how do we weed out what is actually useful besides just what someone had for breakfast that day? Well, one way to do that, also looking back at the Queensland campaign, is to create a hashtag. And actually, related to this example is also the initiative or the policy in the Philippines, where they have created the official hashtags that can be used during certain disaster situations. So in the Philippines, if a storm is approaching, then they will use the hashtag and then the local name of the storm, so whichever name the Philippines is using for the storm, capital PH. And what this does is this takes the vast amount of information on social media and narrows it down so that all information going out about a certain event includes this hashtag. So this is very important because it takes all that noise, narrows it down, and lets you get the information you're looking for quicker. Also lets your users find exactly what else they're looking for based on it, depending on other people reporting and using the same hashtag that might not be closely affiliated with your organization. While this may be a way for rumor spreading to occur also, since it's using the hashtag, you could quickly look for the information being circulated and pinpoint what may be false information. Due to your cross-checking, you could tell people whether or not if it's true if you do spot a rumor. Let's move on. Dissemination of outdated information. This often occurs when people ask for help and they are rescued, which is great, but people continue to share their post or retweet their tweet even after their call for help has been answered. So how do you solve this problem? Well, this comes back to policy or an understanding from your audience that after someone is rescued, or an understanding from the person doing the rescuing, which can be and should be set up beforehand, that once rescue has been provided or aid has been provided, then another social media post be produced that says the person has received the help that they required. So this is another way to help deal with this problem of the dissemination of outdated information. Other information using cross-check can be verified. And just in case you're not following, cross-checking is when you take a piece of information, then you verifying it using a number of different sources that can be really related to that information. If only one person from one area is reporting on something and everyone else from that area does not seem to be in the know, it is likely that it's a rumor. But of course, every case is different, and the responsible use is what's more important. It's key that if you're not sure about something, don't share it. Reliance on electricity. Social media uses electricity because the internet uses electricity, at least hardwired internet if you're connected to a computer, and cell phones use cell phone networks, 3G networks, 4G networks. And if you're out of power, how do you use these devices? Maybe if it's fully charged, you have a certain amount of time, but how can you go about keeping up to date with the information? Well, some short-term solutions to this would be using other ways to connect your device, mostly your cell phone, to car chargers. If it's safe, you could go out, use your car to charge your phone. Be careful you're doing this in, again, a safe environment. You don't want to be running your car in a closed area, and you don't want to be running your car out in the middle of a storm just to stay connected. So it's important to keep yourself safe and use what means you can when you are safe, and have a backup plan, maybe a backup battery, to share whatever resource you're using to gain information. It's also a good idea to brush up on the contingency plans in your community and educate yourself on how quickly cell phone towers can come back up after being harmed from a natural disaster. And this could also lead to a story where if there is no contingency plan or this information is not known, it's a very good measure to start to make a plan around this sort of plan or sort of information, since cell towers are such a key form of communication. Future issues. Well, what are they? We're not really sure. Social media changes so quickly, but we're sure there will be issues in the future. But it's important to grow with the medium, to adapt just as we have already. We've seen Twitter grow from a channel where people only shared what they were doing at each time in a given day to an effective disaster risk management tool. So it's important to stay adaptive, understand what tools are available, what problems those tools might include, and ways to solve those problems. Thank you very much.